my early 20s, it was just, I was training freaking way too much. I was overtraining. I was training 6-7 times a week, sometimes 3 workouts a day. Rarely took a full day off. Now I'm taking at least 1, sometimes 2 or even 3. Just seeing how my body feels. I already know how to fight. Just fine-tuning things, picking up some new techniques here and there. Just getting to the fight healthy, mentally, physically. I think that's just as important as the rest of it. So it's something that me and my team have been stressing a lot. I go to Staten Island to Sports Science Lab, and they have some of the best physical therapists, some of the best recovery equipment. I do my strength and conditioning out there with those guys, and it's made a huge difference. It takes me about an hour to get out there with no traffic. Oh shit.
How are you?
All right, how's everything?
Who's the guy with the camera?
Filming him,
It's Will.
UFC fighter.
UFC?
Yeah, him.
Oh.
How are you?
Well, your inspection is overdue.
Oh no,
Is this your car?
it is.
Get taken care of as soon as you can.
All right, thank you.
He said a what?
My inspection. I need to get my car inspected.
Oh, they look at the tag.
Oh, it was November. Shit. Well, I think you just got me off because the camera was
100%.
That's great.
Yeah, Al has changed a little bit, but I think it's more he's just changed with time. You know, he's gotten a little bit older. But I've had 12 fights since our fight. He's only had 6. And he's taken years off in there, you know, and he's a real estate agent now, you know, he's going around, he's worried about other things. He's the one that's doing something else. When we fought the first time, he had so much more experience over me. You know, he had been through the Ultimate Fighter. He had already had 3 or 4 fights in the UFC. And now the tables have flipped a little bit. You know, this is what I do full time. And I think that's what's really going to show through is the evolution. He changes up a little bit. You know, he's got some things that I got to watch out for. Al's a tough guy. I'm not going to take it away from him. I don't really like him, but I'm going to respect his style and I'm going to respect his skills. He can show up and he's never going to go away, and it's going to make for a damn good fight.
You know, this main event is going to be explosive. I mean, these are 2 guys that fought before. Kevin Lee has been calling for the rematch for a couple of years now. And I think you got to be careful what you ask for. I think anybody that takes Iaquinta light is in for a rude awakening. He's had a full training camp. We saw what he did against an absolute killer, Khabib Nurmagomedov, on 1 day's notice, training for a 3-round fight against a striker. I can't say this enough. I mean, if he didn't prove what he's made out of in that fight, this guy has demolished everybody. And look what he did to Conor McGregor. I mean, that was not Conor is a very skilled fighter, very skilled striker, and he's just walking through people. But Al got 5 rounds out of him, training for a 3-round camp. He's trained full. He's had a full 5-round camp. He's healthy, and man, I expect a great fight, man.
You can get a nice house on the water for like $750. Maybe even a little less. $650, $600. But you really want to get, you want to live on the water and you want to live the right way, $1 million house. That's the goal. That's all I really want, is $1 million house on the water. Not too much to ask, right?
Out of all the places you've been in the world, what made you, you know, with all the opportunities you have, say, I'm going to live in Long Island and not ever move somewhere else?
The summers on Long Island are awesome. I'm 10 minutes from the beach, 45 minutes to an hour from the city. You know, I was born and raised here. My father's, he's coached at high school football on Long Island his whole life. He's been a ocean lifeguard his whole life. Still to this day, he lifeguards during the summers. So I grew up on the beach. I can never move too far from the beach. I've been in Sydney, Australia. I think I could live there in their summer. I always have to be here in the summer. I can't be too far from here. It's awesome.
So where we at right now?
Long Beach, Long Island. In the summer, this place is filled with cars. Right here, they pull up food trucks, and there's just people all over the place. It's great. In the winter, a little deserted, but I mean, look, there's still people walking the boardwalk. This place is just, I love this place. It's great.
The mayor just a little while ago saying, listen, this is a mandatory evacuation for Zone A areas. If you're not familiar with Zone A, those are the low-lying areas. Anyone who is living by the water in an area that floods, those are areas where you must evacuate by 7 o'clock tonight.
Jeff, the 8 o'clock discussion this morning from NOAA came out, a life-threatening storm surge for Long Island and New York City. And so this is something that we've really taken into consideration when putting together the forecast.
Because of the storms, a lot of erosion. They're trying to save this island. They built up these big dunes right here. They redid this whole boardwalk, and they're, see those boats out there in the water are pumping sand into these tubes here, and you'll see they just shoot out water with sand in it, and they're elongating the beach, making the beach probably like 100 yards longer, and that's going to keep the waves back and save these apartments for when that next storm comes, because it's only a matter of time. This is the beginning of the day. We heard there was a hurricane coming, so the storm chasers were out. And by the end of the day, that's the street. And the telephone pole, and they're freaking kayaking in the street, down the street. There's a fire department. Some of these are from before, and some of them are after. This is my buddy Scott and Rich, fucking throwing the fists up. We're about to get crushed by Sandy. The waves were absolutely insane. It was the power of the ocean was nuts. The cops trying to kick everybody off the boardwalk. At the time, I was so young and dumb. We came right here, and I was here with two of my buddies, and the waves were insane. It was just like a washing machine. The power of the ocean was nuts. And we were there with it was hundreds of people looking at the water, and just you see the strength of the waves, and there was news camera crews here. And then the warnings started coming in, people started leaving, and it was just us and the camera crews, and we were like just hanging out, getting drunk, watching the storm come in. The wind was insane, the waves, the water started coming up, and then we were watching the news on the phone, and they were like, yeah, get out, it's time to go. And we started seeing the news crews start to leave. And once the news crews started to leave, we were like, fuck, it's time to go.
Hurricane Sandy is more than 200 miles off the coast and is about to crash into two other systems when it makes landfall. And look at this picture tonight. This is from space, from NASA. It's a massive storm, 1,000 miles across. And long before it makes landfall, sometime tomorrow night, it is already being felt tonight all along the coastline. Whipping winds and rains have already flooded many communities beyond the coastline.
I got a call from my mom the next day. We were driving around surveying Long Island and looking at everything, and my mom was like, Aunt Sherry lost her boat. It's not where they docked it. And so I was driving around my town, which is probably a mile at least from where she had her boat docked, and I saw this boat. I was like, it looks familiar, and then I looked at the back of it, and it's the Sherry Chris. It's my Aunt Sherry and her brother Chris. They They lost their boat. And it was, we probably waited a little too long because it was a little crazy getting back home. I thought the car was gonna blow off the bridges when we were going back over the bridges, but we made it back. Cabanas at the sands, demolished. It was just crazy. Telephone poles down. We were driving home and all this shit was falling down around us. We didn't even freaking know. It was so crazy. Power was out for like 2 weeks. No one had power, hot water, nothing. As the boardwalk, the next day the boardwalk just got demolished, just wrecked. So dumb at the time. Trees were falling down. We could have easily gotten freaking crushed by one of those trees. And people did. It was crazy. And there I am. What was I wearing? A velour jumpsuit with a fire extinguisher and a Four Loko. What the heck was going on in my head? The UFC, the old UFC shoes. Volante made fun of me all the time for wearing those. I was like, dude, Volante, relax, they're free. I was broke.
We have a number of, probably hundreds of residents that are still not in their homes since Sandy, and we've taken the last 6 years to a number of different steps to ensure that we're better prepared going forward for storms.